And we're live. Hi, everybody. I'm Lucas from the Zero One Coin community, and I'm joined by my colleagues Owen and Carlos. Hi, guys.
Hey,
Hey, Lucas.
Oh, so this is an exciting moment for I don't know everybody. I've never done a live stream before, so this is hopefully not going to totally suck. Um,
me
but
neither.
uh, yeah. But anyway, so this all sort of came about because one of our community members, Altoshi, made a suggestion, and we were like, you know what, we should probably have a sit down and talk about all this. So, without any further ado, I think we should get started. I'll start by sort of just introducing myself and you know what my involvement in Zero One Coin has been, and then you guys can talk about that, and then we'll take it from there. So my name is Lucas. I have been the project manager of Zero One Coin ever since Owen first wrote that proposal for takeover way back in 2018. Was it 20? Yeah, it's 2018. So 4 years ago, uh, and yeah, I've been sort of marshaling the resources that have been available to us over time. Some people have come, some people have gone, and but it's been a real community effort so far. We've had quite a lot of contributions, I would say, not just from a development standpoint, but from just contributions in different ways to the project over the years. So that's been my role. Owen, why don't you tell us a little about you?
Sure. Yeah, so like Lucas said, some years ago I wrote the proposal for the takeover. We ended up taking over the coin, and now it's been running for a while. Um, and we've the maintenance has stalled a little bit. I gotta say, and we want to pick it up fully again to make some traction again. We ran into some issues, and we hope to to go to a place where zero one coin is feasible as a governance coin. So, and I hope to contribute to that.
Great. And Carlos, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, hello. I'm Carlos from. Okay, so I did join in at the beginning at this takeover of the of several coins actually were kind of scam on this time on 218. This master nodes concept for me was really mind blowing and the concept of governance using the um, super blocks and this concept of dash for me was really very interesting and it was a hype. Masternode coins were a hype in 2018, so I
Hmm.
really was uh, with a very interest to learn about this technology of masternodes. So I did also join this the we call the our core the ZOC core team. So contribution I have been helping uh, more of course years ago with the evolution of the wallet with the support of the our use case the zero and VPS with the one click master nodes. So this was I'm kind of what I do mostly is test related. Although I also have my interest in the development and also currently is DevOps. The whole picture. So from doing to testing to deploying everything. So, but I'm not really a new guy. I'm over 50. So so okay, so I'm on this tokens and coins environment, I guess for my time being, because it makes me learn a lot of things on the latest technologies.
Yeah.
But okay, current latest years have been really bad for me personally, live and so on. So we got kind of stuck in the latest upgrades. But okay, we will talk about it for sure more.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, to that end, I think the main crux of what we're going to be talking about today is where the project is right now, and what opportunities um, we might have to move the project forward eventually. But before we get started, I just want to do some quick community updates. Bring people up to speed with what's been happening, non-core related, and then after that we'll get into the meat and potatoes of it. But I wanted to start off by talking about exchanges. So this is probably what most people see when they go to crex24.com, which has been one of our main exchanges ever since the beginning, basically. We've basically had the two exchanges since the community takeover, which is Gravix and Crex24. And Crex24, worked great for a long time, but then slowly but surely, it started off in Canada. I think we were one of the first countries to get cut off, and then as you know, all of Europe has pretty much been cut off. I don't even know. Like, I have to access it through a VPN, and the list of countries, through the servers that I can use to access Crex24 seems to get smaller and smaller with each passing day. So this is a bit of a challenge for us, is that Crex24 basically isn't available to most of our user base. The other main exchange is Gravix, and Gravix has been great for us. It's they've been really good to work with. They're very responsive, and they've been helpful for us as a small community client. Kind of done some favors for us over the course of the last couple of years. But we're not. And I don't want to get into geopolitical discussion or anything like that about what's going on in Ukraine. But we one of the issues that we need to be cognizant of is the fact that Gravix is in Russia. And a lot of Western nations have been saying that they're going to use, cyber warfare to cut, Russia off from Western economy. And that's going to work both ways. It'll, prevent Russians from being able to access Western websites as much as it's going to prevent Westerners from being able to access Russian websites. And so it's possible that, as of today, Gravix is great. It works. It's there. But maybe someday in the future it won't. So, and we got to be ready for that. And one of the ways that we were able to, facilitate that is we got another exchange called Zegex. And we've got three different markets here on Zegex. Well, two markets. We've got, so both Gravix and Crex24 are ZOC BTC markets. But the ZOC price is pretty low. It's only about 2 Satoshis or something like that. So we got two different kind of markets here on Zegex. A ZOC Doge market, which is this one, which you don't see a lot of activity on, and ZOC Tether market, which is this one, also not a lot of activity. Nobody's really been using Zegex yet. It's interesting, right? Because I'm not going to come out and say, hey, I recommend everybody use Zegex. I mean, this has been something that we've struggled with since the beginning. Getting that third reliable exchange partner. At various times we've been on BISC, Crypto Dash, Ubit, Northern Exchange, AmsterX, AmsterDex, Altilli, and all of them have fallen by the wayside for one reason or another. So hopefully Zegex will work out, but who knows? The last thing I wanted to mention about Zegex is there is a liquidity pool. It's the ZOC Doge liquidity pool. So there's actually more activity. Now I'm looking at it, I didn't even realize there was this much activity on it. So there actually is some activity on the liquidity pool. That's an opportunity for you to deposit both ZOC and Doge, and then earn a share of the trading fees, or you can just use the liquidity pool as a way to exchange from one to the other. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was some of our partners. So if you go to the 01Coin website and you click on partners here, you got two here. One is 01VPS.net and the other one is VexPay. So let's talk about 01VPS.net. I don't know if our viewers are familiar with it, but it's a website that was originally developed by a former team member named Mad Stu, who was a great guy, still is a great guy, by the way. And it was this basically this VPS service. But one of the things that made it interesting was he was able to create these what he called recipes, which were one-click things where you just click on like install 01 masternode, and it would just do it for you. And it was a pretty cool thing that way. It was very useful, particularly during the masternode revolution of 2018, because a lot of people needed VPS servers back then. It's still useful now. I mean, we still have pretty close to a full server of users, but at one point we had 5 servers. So it's definitely not as big as it once was. What's nice about that, from a maintenance standpoint, though, is it's a lot more sustainable now. It's a lot more cheaper to keep running. I will just quickly go on to VexPay and talk about that real quick, but then I'll come back to 01 VPS because I think Carlos had a couple questions for me on that. So before we do that, let's talk about VexPay. So VexPay is it's a mobile and web wallet, and it's based in Angola. What's kind of cool about that is Africa is the fastest growing cryptocurrency market in the world, and Angola is one of the biggest countries, most populous and most prosperous countries in Africa. The reason why it's Angolan and only Angolan is because it links directly in with users' bank accounts, which is kind of the cool thing. So you can just buy and sell crypto directly from your bank account using VexPay. And what's neat about that is the guys at VexPay reached out to us when they were developing it, and actually had Carlos look at some of their code just to make sure it was on the up and up. And we were one of their launch coins. So that was kind of neat. I mentioned all this stuff, right? I mentioned the exchanges, 01VPS.net, and VexPay, because the rest of this conversation is going to really impact what we do going forward with our partners, with our exchanges. Because if we decide to make fast sweeping changes, it's possible that 01VPS might not exist anymore, really, in the way that it currently does. So with all that said, Carlos, you mentioned some things to me in Discord about 01VPS.net, some questions you had about it. What did you want to know?
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. First note from me. Okay. I guess it's for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Our partnerships. We like very much partnerships, but we do not answer by partnerships. So if any of these partnerships kind of is could trick our colleagues from the community, we do not have we do not have responsibility for it. So for this, I would say, okay, this VexPay, I didn't try it, so I don't know really if it works. But we do not. I do not have feedback from it. Okay.
Yeah, no, certainly we're not vouching for the third party
okay,
things, but just pointing them out, saying that they're there, and that if we do make changes to the coin, then that's going to affect those partnerships.
We even had in the past this game that was
oh yeah, Dice Age.
The Dice Age, and okay, we can talk about perhaps other partnership requests. We still having coming in. We had several requests in the past. Okay, so for 01 VPS, okay, question would be, okay, for sure this should remain apart, separated from the core coin, and as it started like that, it was separated. So question is, okay, do you intend to keep it that way? And is 01 VPS will remain a separated entity, right, from the community?
Well, I mean, it's separate in so much as it's not. I mean, it relies on 01 coin because 01 coin is the payment mechanism for 01 VPS. But otherwise, it's separate because it's its whole other thing. Just like an exchange is separate, or VexPay is separate, or Dice Age was separate. However, having said that, I obviously have some, influence on this conversation that we're having today, and in Zero One Coin's, future direction. And I also happen to be the one who is funding 01VPS.net. So it's not separate in that regard. But here's what I will say is that if one thing that we've been looking at 01VPS.net for some time is a way to update the payment gateway that MadStew built to include other coins. Like we've talked to the guys at FDR, or French Digital Reserve, I think it's called. The guys at Zenzo, because JS Kitty's part of our community, and then also recently the Doge Cash guys. They've all been interested in having their currencies accepted at 01VPS.net at various times, and my position has always been like, great, I can maintain the payment processor that MadStew built. I don't know how to fix it, so it's up to you guys to make it work. And nobody has been able to make it work yet. So that's really been the sticking point. There have been opportunities to increase the number of cryptocurrencies that we accept, but so far it just hasn't worked. I don't know. Does that answer your question, Carlos?
Yes, kind of. So there are a lot of payment processors over there by the internet. Okay,
Yeah.
but some of them are paid, of course. We could if we had this use of the community, uh, how you say, the generation of coins, these super blocks that the masternodes usually have. We didn't yet explore this thing. Of course, I think we will talk about this also a little, how this could be. But for me also, of course, we do not have yet, or still we do not have liquidity to take advantage of this, of course. But we could think kind of donations and other kinds of getting funds, to example, to try to pay for a payment processor or so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but
So
right.
there's one,
Mhm.
for example, there's what was it called? Let's see if we can figure out what it was
Yeah.
called.
Uh,
Cryptocurrency
okay.
checkout was one that we tried. For example, cryptocurrency checkout has a WHMCS plugin, so it should be super easy. Just plug and play, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is with the exchange system that Madstu set up in his payment processor, so that users can pay, or so users can see their balance either in euros or in ZOC. So it all works seamlessly through his exchange system. But once you introduce another currency, it all seems to break, and that's fine and dandy. But first and foremost, I need to make sure 01 coin works, right? So if I introduce another coin and now 01 coin doesn't work as a payment option, then that's a non-starter, right? So that's been the issue.
Yeah. So yeah, well, so one option would be to bring 01 coin to one of these payment processors that already support
Yeah.
the other coins we have interest in joining, like Doge and
Yeah, so
this.
pay the fee to have 01 coin listed as a currency
Listed
on
as,
cryptocurrency checkout, and
yeah,
then just replace the payment processor with cryptocurrency checkout, and then
yeah,
01 coin is an option. I see what you're
yeah,
saying. Yeah. Yeah, there is a cost associated with that. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I remember looking into it
yeah.
once and
So
being like, no, I'm not going to do that.
yeah,
But
sure.
it is something that especially if we do make changes to the coin, then Madstu's payment processor is not going to work anymore.
Yeah, sure.
So we're going to need to figure out a way to make 01VPS.net viable after that, which is actually a nice segue into our next topic of discussion. And so the next thing I want to talk about is the current state of affairs concerning the 01 coin core. Now, if as people may or may not know, um, we are on version 0.12.3.7 of 01 coin, which came out when? When did that come out? That came out October 29th, 2019. So it's kind of an old core now. And it's old in a way that matters because it's been, uh, what's a nice way of saying this? I don't know. It's been sort of harassed a little bit by miners and by masternode operators. So what I mean by that is because of the way it works, masternode operators have been able to use something called phantom nodes to pretend to be a masternode without actually providing masternode services to the network, and it's susceptible to something called multi-pools, which are like exchange pools where they'll only mine when your coin is on low difficulty. They'll drive up the difficulty and then they'll abandon it. And then once they get all the coins from that mining, they'll just dump it on exchange for Bitcoin or whatever. So that's though both those things are bad for the coin. So we were thinking about upgrading the core. And so Owen set to work and started the process of modernizing 0 1 coins. So that requires following dash in certain steps. Owen, do you want to take us through what those steps are?
Okay, not listening.
Oh, I think you're on mute. Did I mute you or did you mute yourself?
I think I muted myself. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, so usually when we create an update, there are several steps we do. First, we test it locally. Then we look at each other's code to confirm everything is okay. Then we create a test build. We share the test build. We deploy it on the test net. And we start testing the changes. And also see how well it plays together with older test nodes. We hit a bit of a snag last time we tried updating, and for some reason we can't get the testnet going anymore. It might be due to some limited knowledge in the team, but of course you can't know everything. And one of the members also who used to set up the test node is less than responsive. So that's one of the challenges we have to deal with.
Evie, where are you, man?
Yeah. So then I thought, well, maybe instead of doing baby steps, because we wanted to go to 0.13, I thought, why not go to the latest version right away? And same issues there, actually. I tried several things. I tried reverting to older versions, but all the same. So then one of the community members suggested we might want to move to another solution, or maybe do a coin swap or something. And that's where we're at now.
Yeah. So in terms of the release candidate that is in the testnet now, what 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 happened? Like why is it not going?
Well, if I knew, I would have fixed it already. But we for some reason we can't get the testnet going again, and we're not confident releasing something without testing it on the testnet first.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, also just to provide some information there to anybody who might be watching, I actually have a number of masternodes on the mainnet that are running the test wallet, which is based on 0.13 dash. So it's perfectly compatible with the mainnet. But the reason why it's so important for us to get the testnet going is because there's a particular spork that is, that we need to test before we can, push it on the mainnet.
Yeah, it's a new block format, the spork. So it once the spork is triggered, the old nodes are abandoned, and the old nodes won't work anymore. They won't accept the new block format anymore. So that's a problem. It's something we cannot just test on the mainnet.
Yeah. Yeah. So that leads us to the next question. What next? What next for 0 1 coin?
So I see two ways. Either we try to keep struggling forward as we do now, or we try to adapt the token and do a swap. There would be a like uh, like you said, there would be a downside to it that services won't be compatible anymore, like exchanges, 01 VPS, and the what's it
The
called
VexPay
again?
thing.
VexPay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The upside would be it would be easier to upgrade to a modern version. It would be easier to do create a governance system around it.
Right, because I mean that's when we go back to the whole raison d'etre for a 01 coin. It's because we wanted to create um, this project that was entirely, like, all the decision making processes were entirely community driven, and
Mhm.
we've kind of succeeded in that in so much of the chain of trust system that we implemented through the social channels. So making sure that community members who wanted to contribute had an opportunity to earn their way into the decision making processes. But it's been very social and unofficial and not on the blockchain. And so the whole idea of 01 coin when we took it over was to make it all on the blockchain. And that's the reason why governance was a big part of what we were trying to do. So like is that continue? Do you see that this idea towards community governance being still essential to 01 coin down the road?
Well, for community governance, you need two things: community and governance. And there is one downside right now. Community is not as alive as it used to be.
Mhm.
So, and it maybe it will come if we create the governance. Maybe the community will come. Yeah, that's the thing to think about.
No, it's a really good point. We but it's interesting, right? Because 01 coin is a masternode coin, right? And that was like its heyday was 2018, and
Hmm.
it's not 2018 anymore. And
Hmm.
we were talking about a little bit before the stream started about how a lot has happened in cryptocurrency since 2018. With DeFi and DAOs and stuff like that. Um,
Hmm.
so in order to rejuvenate you know the community, maybe we need to modernize the coin in or the project, I should say, because maybe it's not going to be a coin. We need to modernize the project with what's happening in crypto in 2022. Is that what you're kind of getting at there on?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe a how do you say, an impulse, and a fresh impulse, a
Hmm.
fresh movement. I don't know if that will help, but yeah, just a thought.
What do you
What do
think,
you
Carlos,
think,
about this
Carlos?
idea
Yeah.
about going away from the masternode model?
Uh, okay, to be honest, my personal opinion, of course, I'm still in love with masternodes
Hmm.
and by proof of work. But even I don't even I'm not so much strict example with the proof of work versus proof of stake anymore. But so I guess I saw already some of the coins also trying to go to tokens. So but okay, for me, knowledge wise, uh, I would for now I would contribute. Okay, for the community to know we all are on this, not free of charge, but the other way around. So we contribute little with our servers and some expenses we have. We all three and other community members, so we are a paying community, not
Yeah, we
not a
put in
pay
some of our own money.
of our
Yeah.
own money. Yeah, that's has been a difficulty trying to get. new community developers and core contributors. Uh, so this to summarize my opinion. So I would vote. My vote of the community would go to try a little harder, getting a newer version of either the latest Dash or either the latest PVX or so on. Or so we could also see kind of a coin swap
Hmm.
solution, but still my preference would be to remain in the masternode class and try to really make it work a governance. We never did have a chance to use the governance system, the voting system,
Mhm.
not even by masternode vote. That currently would be very cheap to own a masternode. But anyway, our goal would be kind of a different consensus, like one coin, one vote. But okay, this
Yep.
would be a third step, depending on of course, the community decision how the coin should continue. Yeah.
Yep. And I just wanted to point out that I think Altoshi is responding to Owen here. Where he said that he sent a message on Discord, says, "I think if we create a product and use case first, the community will automatically come." I don't know if that's true. I think if you create something that's new, then maybe the community will come. But 01 coin is kind of long in the tooth, so I don't. It'll be interesting to see if doing something new in an old project can make that come true. What do you think, Owen?
Mm, depends on how exciting the product is and how much people love to use it. If people scream it from the roofs, if they once they used it, and they want to tell everybody about it, then that's of course the best case scenario. But so in some sense, I think he's right. It doesn't mean that any product will automatically draw a community.
Yep. All right. So,
But in some sense, I do agree that you won't get a community these days just by hyping
mhm.
a coin. Uh, you need to show something. You need to yeah
Yep.
to give something to the
Yeah, you need to
to be
contribute
able to
something
show.
of meaningful value
Yeah.
to the cryptocurrency universe. I mean, the idea that just you could swap to DeFi and then boom, all your problems are solved. It's that's not true. So
Mhm.
yeah, you need to create. So this is when I go back to thinking about blockchain as a code base more than just cryptocurrency, because you need to sort of create this ecosystem that is interfunctional, so that the underlying cryptocurrency has a number of different avenues for utility. That's
Mhm.
always what I kind of thought about it. Like 01 coin is nothing unless there's ways to use it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
I also disagree with Altoshi question in this way, that not one use case would be a solution for any coin,
Hmm.
but to have a community that is willing to use the coin in some way or service that someone gives to the coin, like we have this, like the service of the servers that the guy, the you say the Matt bring up for us. So this is one VPS. This kind of it was a service. Yeah, he brought to the,
Mhm.
or the game also another. So even the current tokens used in these NFTs games and in the also other games, uh, I'm not really sure that a game coin is what's used for use it for the to buy options for the gamer and so on. So
Hmm.
any use case. So I'm still betting that a coin or a token should should be used as a like the first goal of a Bitcoin. So to be decentralized and censure resistant. So that would be like Owen said, a community and the governance needs both. And now I agree with Owen. We are kind of weak in the community side, but
Yeah.
also we never really did blockchain governance.
No.
We did governance by
Mhm.
discussing several topics and taking some of donations from the community and putting them together in some things.
Yeah, and those
So
donations were used for things like the Crex 24 listing and the Crypto Dash listing, the ill-fated Crypto Dash listing. So um, and actually also for Altilli, I think did we? No, we didn't pay it for Altilli. Good that. So I don't know if you remember what happened with Altilli. We finally got a listing on Altilli, and then like within 3 weeks they got hacked, lost everything. Except because we were so new, none of our coins were lost. So none of our
I
users were
see
affected by
another.
that.
I see another question, uh, but I'm not sure what the question is. It says 01 forking
Yes.
question mark.
So this is. I mean, it comes down to this. This is my question for you guys. Even if we're going to uh, try to stay the course with Dash and try to use a Dash-based masternode system for creating our governance solution, is there any way to avoid a swap?
Yeah, forking. No, but if we would look at updating, for example, using uh, Lucas suggested, PIVX, then almost certainly we would immediately break the old and not be compatible with the old,
Hmm.
and that's maybe okay. I mean, it's uh, right now we have also very poor block times, and the performance of the blockchain is not very awesome, uh, to say the least. So if it would mean a fork and we leave the old things behind and we communicate it well beforehand to the exchanges, I don't think it will be a big deal. So I think yeah, maybe we'll have to fork
Yeah.
probably.
for Ruski, I would say forking would assure that the coins you have will continue in the new fork. So either it's a kind of a smooth forking, like which we'll try doing with the wallet update, or either
Yeah.
if it is some fork that does not run very smooth, that you just need to to bring your wallet private keys to another wallet.
Mm,
So this would mean also bring up
yeah.
your own coins. So this
It's
would mean
mainly from a masternode or mining perspective. There will
yeah.
it will be probably be a fork, but not
Mhm.
from your wallet perspective. You don't have to download a new completely, or to generate a new wallet or swap tokens, not those sort of things.
Mhm.
But it undoubtedly will have a chain split in that way. A fork.
And that's relevant from a cost standpoint too, because a swap costs money. Like we will, like if we were to swap, we would have to pay Gravix to
Hmm.
support that. We'd probably lose Crex 24, which is probably okay to be honest. But it would cost money. Whereas a fork, we can do that and maintain our exchange partners
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to backtrack real quick and provide some context to a remark that Owen said earlier, which was that our block times aren't great. So this is one of the impacts of multi pools, what they've done to our blockchain. what I talked about earlier, where they'll mine, really fast, really hard when the difficulty is really low, and then kick the difficulty up really high, and then abandon the coin and go mine something else with low difficulty. What that has done to 0 coin is interesting, because our block times are supposed to be 120 seconds, I believe. So once every 2 minutes, we're supposed to get a block on average. And then we're based on that, our halvings are supposed to be once a year, and they're supposed to happen around the time of when our Genesis block was created, which is February 2018. So ostensibly, we should be having our halvings in February of every year. However, we're not going to have our halving this year until September. So that puts us March, April, May, June, July, August, September, 7 months behind schedule. And that's because our blocks are so unreliable in terms of when they're going to come around. In fact, this has actually affected some users at 01vps.net. So what will happen is they'll go ahead and make a payment, but then the payment won't get processed for like 15 hours or something like that, because it takes that long to find the next block, thanks to these multi-pools. So I just wanted to sort of provide some context about what Owen was saying earlier about how our blocks are kind of unreliable. Is that something that can be fixed with future Dash or PIVX based iterations?
I guess.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it's still in this PIVX or Dash. So I remember, if we jump to a proof of work, okay, we could end up. Okay, we have this a fork. We still bring up this blocked addresses we have, because of the first dev that get away has still a lot of coins locked there. But we would have a new challenge if we jump to this proof of work to block also generation from these coins. Okay, but this was just a part, an extra information. Okay, so go ahead. What we are talking about? Sorry.
Yeah. So what I think about this is if we take the PIVX or whatever as a base, and we end up forking successfully and upgrade the net, then creating a governance system from there will be harder than creating a governance system from a token. So that's also, we have to weigh that in. From a token, we can leverage all the Web3 things, so you can easily from the website communicate to the blockchain with the modern Web3 principles. So people use MetaMask or whatever, and otherwise we'd have to create something like MetaMask ourselves, or do it another hard way, and that's do it all in the wallet. So that will be another thing we have to consider.
But like, what is the value in reinventing the wheel in that case?
There would be a downside. We'd have to step away from the masternodes and maybe break compatibility with exchanges and other services.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and there's another thing. In the distant future, when we decide to create or only create a specific use case, then a masternode can do more. It can provide a service which a liquidity swap or whatever cannot really provide. For example, if you would, I don't know, provide a service where you can interact with a server online with one of the masternodes that would provide a certain service. I cannot name a specific example right now, but yeah, if there would be with the blockchain, the response time is pretty slow. You put something on the block, or you make a request, it will get processed sometime depending on the cost, transaction cost. But a masternode is almost instantaneous if you want to communicate with them. So the use cases are different for both. There are different possibilities for both avenues.
So you mentioned the sort of limited utility associated with liquidity exchanges. What would you say to this question from Altoshi via Discord, or not really a question, sort of like a statement, I guess. He says, but if we move into token, we can have multiple dexes, and that's the flip side.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't really need, like I talked to you before this call, you don't really need the exchanges anymore, because people can just swap in a liquidity pool, or the learning curve might be slightly higher. On the other hand, these days they don't make it easy to register for an exchange anymore. I mean, you have to provide the you have to pretty much provide everything, all your private information. So that's a little bit of the downside.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite a process to register for an exchange. I recently helped my sister doing it, but it hasn't gotten easier since the inception.
No, I believe it's
So
getting harder. It's getting harder
yeah,
to, yeah.
so
That's actually
if
one of the
we
things that makes kind of Gravix kind of unique, because it's Russian. Um, uh,
mm,
KYC is optional. You can KYC or not.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So well, there again, there are up and downsides. On one hand, you could use a liquidity pool, and it's arguably harder to use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's, as you
So
said, there's a learning curve there. An
yeah,
exchange is pretty simple, right? I trade one thing for another. But like with liquidity pools, like I need both. Why? I just want to trade one thing for another kind of thing, right?
well, you don't need both. Both
Yeah, I know,
you can
but
be a
yeah,
liquidity provider or the for the
yeah.
swapping. Good.
So,
So yeah,
so let's kind of get down to brass tacks here, guys. What When we get off this call, what are we going to do next?
I think we should make it a community discussion. Take this as the first reference point, and then discuss the pros and cons. I think it's not something you want to decide on a whim in
Mm-hmm.
one call. I think it's something you either way, whichever way you go, it will be a commitment and it will be work. So we'll have to think carefully about it.
We got to be realistic too about the number of hours per week that
Hmm.
the three of us and anybody else in the community who wishes to contribute are able to, you know,
Yeah.
dedicate to this project. Because if it is going to be a lot of work, it could end up taking a lot of time.
Hmm. And it might not ever finish if it's too much work.
Yeah, yeah. So you want to bite off a chunk that you can actually chew.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. So how do we want to go about that then, in terms of opening up the discussion for the community? Do we want to stick with the usual suspects and just try to hash it out on Discord, or do you think there's another way forward for that?
Um, yeah, usually we use Discord for it to create a community discussion, but
Yeah.
maybe somebody listening has a better idea.
I know, right? I mean, we do have other social channels, but as like you alluded to earlier, the community in activity has really fallen off since 2018. So there's not a lot of activity going on. And like
Yeah.
we have a Reddit, r/01coin. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who posted there. Actually, Zerg Pool posted there. One of the multi pools posted there earlier, trying to get people to
Mm.
mine on Zerg Pool, but that's about it. We have a Twitter and a Facebook. We get some engagement on Twitter. In fact, Dirty Rusky is talking on Twitter right now. He's saying, "Hey, anybody with 01 coin, you might care to know that they're forking." But basically, it's just Discord for us. We also have a
Yeah.
Telegram. But I mean, like, we have all these things just to make it easy for people to on ramp, right? So they can get in touch with us
Mhm.
easier. Like if you're a Bitcoin Talk user and you don't use Discord, you should still be able to talk to us about 01 coin. So we have to be everywhere. But generally speaking, yeah, it's Discord.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I don't know. I think we've covered everything we set out to cover today. I don't see any other questions on either YouTube or Discord or anywhere else. Let me just double check. So, is there anything else that you guys wanted to say before we called this a day?
Yes, I have a question for Owen. Okay, if you
Mhm.
think this token chance that you say, so would this kind of be doing like a swap? So how would you deal with the hold zero one coin holders? So
Yeah, they would they would transfer it to a burn address, and then they new tokens will be generated at a swap location. So on another chain.
okay, so a token would have some amount to be
Mhm.
able to account to the current coins
Yeah.
existing.
One
The
way that I
worst
saw it
case
done
scenario,
recently. Sorry,
we, the worst case scenario, we do it by hand.
right? That would be a pretty crummy scenario. Well,
Hmm.
one way that I saw it done recently, which was kind of interesting, was there was a mandatory wallet update. Um, and then what they did was they had two different address types. And what they did was they basically cloned all the addresses that were on the previous blockchain and had like the second address type on the same blockchain. And then another wallet update that got rid of the old addresses. And now all your new addresses had all your coins. And all you had to do was import the private key to the new wallet. And
Mm.
and what was neat about that is you didn't have to go to this third party website or put it on an exchange or something like that uh,
Mhm.
to rely
Yeah,
on the swap.
I'd have to see if the private key will be compatible. I think it should, and that would make it easy. Yes. Yeah. Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, so that the thing I'm talking or the thing I'm thinking about specifically is it's a Decenemy coin. It's when esports betting coin or ESBC got
Hmm.
merged into Jackpot or 777. So they basically did that. So on the Jackpot on the ESBC blockchain, they cloned all the addresses to jackpot addresses, and then
Hmm.
released another release for jackpot where the jackpot addresses all you had to do was import the jackpot address and then bye bye ESBC.
Well, one thing is a derived wallet, so derived by these seed phrases and so on, would like this hierarchical derivation of the private keys.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is the whole way of having private keys on the algorithm itself. So this using this seed words would be easier if, but would require that the whole addresses you have first you would change your coins to a wallet. Then we could try example. Even if algorithm was another one in another token
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
another wallet, perhaps the words would be unique. Okay, the words would be unique anyway, so you could generate new address types. But
Right.
yeah, but this would not be possible for us to know from the blockchain how
Right.
to migrate the value.
Yeah, we'd have to see. Yeah.
Owen's thinking he's like
Okay,
I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know. All right.
okay.
Last
Hey, if it's done before, we can do it as well.
This is true.
So
When
yeah.
This is true. So I'm gonna put this up. Last question from Altoshi. When moon? I would say usually at nighttime. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Currently working on the project is really for me. It's only on nighttime. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, honestly, thank you guys so much for taking the time to do this today. Thank you, Altoshi, and everybody else in the and Dirty Rusky and everybody else in the community who are still there and care a little bit. And yeah, so as Owen said, this conversation is not over. This is just the beginning, and let's have it and see what becomes of it.
Can we make this a regular thing, maybe? To
We could. I actually had fun. I thought this didn't suck. I was worried it was going to suck, but I don't think it sucked. So yeah, I would like that. What do you guys think? Regular, like once every 3 months or so?
I'm still a little nervous, so but okay.
I know.
Yeah, today I was lucky to get out of work soon, but of course, if it's done in the weekend, for me it's better. Okay.
I see. Well, I definitely appreciate you making yourself available today, Carlos, because it was very useful having you, and you as well, Owen. Thank you so much for your time, and everybody else. That's it. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Okay.